transatlantic slave trade and this very slave castle. I will start with the 400s. The Portuguese started exploring the coast of West Africa, searching for gold. And around 1471, the Portuguese arrived on the shores of present-day Ghana. Now, when they came, they found the gold. The Africans they met were already mining and trading in gold. So these Portuguese decided to stay and take as much gold as possible. 11 years after the Portuguese arrived, around 1482, they acquired a piece of land in a town not far from here known as Elmina. And over there, the Portuguese built a trading fort. They were using the fort initially as a transit point to take the gold away. But in the early 1500s, the Portuguese started taking Africans to Brazil, enslaving these Africans on their sugarcane plantations. When the Portuguese started taking Africans, they were basically kidnapping people randomly from their homes and farms. But they saw that it was a problem because the Africans in these communities were fighting back. Their families and people were being kidnapped. So these Portuguese thought they had to find a new way, a new strategy to get Africans to take them away. Now, having come to the shores of West Africa, the Portuguese saw that there were different kingdoms or states, and there were wars of expansion between these kingdoms. During these wars, prisoners of wars were taken and used in societies as indentured servants. So the Portuguese basically took advantage of that system. What they did was that they introduced the guns and gunpowder. They started offering the guns and gunpowder to their chiefs or the kings. With the guns and gunpowder, you become more powerful. You know what I mean? You know, you get to conquer your enemies, expand your territory. And what the Portuguese were asking in exchange for these guns and gunpowder that were given out was the prisoners of the inter-ethnic or inter-tribal wars that was happening. So gradually the Portuguese succeeded in getting some African kings or chiefs to start collaborating, to start supplying them with African captives. Now, for about 100 years, the Portuguese basically held a monopoly over the transatlantic slave trade. But by the end of the 16th century, other Europeans started competing with the Portuguese. The Dutch, the French, the Swedish, the Danes, all of them. They were in West Africa taking not only the natural resource, but also Africans or the human resource. This very slave castle started as a very small fort. The Swedish, they were the first Europeans to have built on this land. In 1654, the Swedish built a small fort, and they were using the fort to take gold to Sweden, but the fort changed hands. The Danes captured it around 1608. In 1661, the Dutch also fought the Danes and took over from them. The Dutch stayed and used the fort not to take only gold, but also to take away Africans. But 4 years after the Dutch occupied the place, around 1665, the British attacked the Dutch here, defeated them. And the British were the ones who then expanded or developed the fort into what we have now, the slave castle. So basically, all you see is British built. For about 200 years, the British took many Africans to their colonies in the Americas and the Caribbean. And the Africans they took away, many of them, they were captured within present-day Ghana. But there were some Africans captured in neighboring West African countries, Togo, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, and brought to the slave castle. And these were people who were kidnapped randomly from their homes, their farms, by these Europeans, as well as by slave raiders. There were many others who were prisoners of the wars that was happening. And one thing, wherever the Africans were captured, they walk. I mean, you can imagine walking from Accra to this place. Not to talk about walking from, Kumasi, Sunyani, Tamale, Salaga, Burkina Faso. So there were many Africans who died on the way. Those who survived the walk, they were brought by these slave raiders and the middlemen. And the middlemen and slave raiders over here, they auctioned the Africans. You know, they were giving the Africans out to the British and getting guns and gunpowder, textiles, tobacco, other European commodities in exchange. And after they get the Africans, they branded them. The British had branding irons with their company's names or emblems carved out at the tops of the fire. The branding on the arms or the backs. And this was done for easy identification. From there, they will separate them. They had a dungeon where they kept the men and a dungeon where they kept the women. We will see both dungeons. In the dungeons, they kept the Africans for 2 weeks to as long as 3 months to wait for the ships to arrive from Britain. In North America, they took the Africans to their colonies in the US, the Caribbean, to the likes of Jamaica, Barbados, Bahamas, and over there, they enslaved the Africans. The Europeans used them as forced labor on the tobacco, the cotton, and the sugarcane plantations. I will pause for a second. Any question before we see the meal itself? Any questions?
Okay, so originally, this fort started, the original foundation of this fort, are we able to determine it as it stands now? By the Danes?
Swedish.
By the Swedish.
That's all. The town or the village as Cabo Corso. That was the name they gave it. And the British were the ones who corrupted it to Cape Coast.
Okay.
So the Portuguese, they were the first to basically have contact, or the first to arrive in this town. But the land was first occupied by the Swedish.
Okay, so are we able to determine the exact state?
The British, they had a wooden fort.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just a very small structure. They were taking gold. The Danes, when they took over, they fortified it a little bit. The Dutch expanded it also, but when the British fought the British had in mind of basically building a very big structure. So they were the ones. So basically what you see now is British.
Oh, okay.
The dungeon, the cells, all this is British built.
Okay.
Yeah, but before the British came, the Dutch were here occupying the forts. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So what is the difference between this one and then the one in Castle in Accra?
Accra. Oh, Accra was built by the Danes or the Danish in the 16th century.
Okay.
So that's the only difference. It was built by different.
So which one is the oldest?
The one in Accra is older than this
Okay.
by just 4 years.
4 years.
Yes. Yeah. But Elmina is currently the oldest European structure
Okay.
along the shores of West Africa. Elmina is about 530 years old.
Okay.
So Elmina is the oldest European structure on the shores of
Yeah, so you said they had another fort that they were using for the merchants, for trading.
the fort.
You said they had another fort. Does that have anything to do with the one?
Alanamabu.
Yeah.
Oh, the forts, there are a lot. In fact, basically over 30 were built just along the shores of West Africa. And in Ghana, I think they built over 25. You know, but there are currently 17 preserved castles and forts. We have 3 castles: Cape Coast, Elmina, and Demusup. And then the other forts are 14. The forts are only smaller than these castles. So for the fort, there are many. I think majority, you find many of them in the western region. Yeah, when you go there, Apollonia, Sebastian, it's a whole lot. So for the forts, they built starting from Axim all the way to Keita. Look at that. They built forts all over, all along the shores of Ghana. Yeah. Ghana, I think of all the European structures built, about 90% of them were built on the shores of Ghana. Yeah.
Because we need more gold.
We had the gold. So it wasn't only to take, it was to take humans. I mean, there were more people in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But here,
Because of
they
the
take
gold.
the humans, they get the gold.
Good. Yeah.
They all wanted to build and stay and compete.
Okay.
And they were fighting among themselves. You know, like it happened here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This door, over 200 years old, is original. It dates back to slavery times. Now, This very one.
Metallic?
Yeah. Both metal, wood.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very old. We say it was a witness. It did see things. If only it could speak, it would have told us a lot about what happened. So it's a very solid structure. A solid door, sorry. Now, this cell, the men, we haven't been to the male dungeon yet, but the men who were fighting for the freedom, those who tried to escape, the freedom fighters, basically, they were put in here. Before the British put a male African in, he is beaten, quick, at the courtyard. So he's taken in very weak. But let us move in first, and I will tell you what happened. Please keep your heads very, very low.
This door is over 200 years old. So that means this door, if it can speak, he saw a lot of things.
Yeah,
yeah, this door, man, more than 200 years ago. Then this door see a lot of what happened to the slaves during the slavery time. And we are going inside the cell to see.